to you from wherever you're watching. I will say good morning, good whatever time. Just take your own. So I am live with Seun Kuti. I stole his time. I stole into his time. I've been disturbing him. He's been in transit. So, but it's very important. He also understands that this topic is important. So he has to agree to it. So Seun Kuti is live with me, and we are going to be together looking into the current trending topics. Queen Elizabeth's passing, how Africans, Nigerians are reacting to it, Professor Uju Anya's comments, and the historical significance of this recent incident. So, good morning from here, Seun Kuti. How are you doing today?
Dale, good morning, my brother.
How body?
How your side? But
You're on
this inside club.
You're on go US. I go collect my dollar when you come back.
I
So,
know they run,
anyways,
no. I know they run.
you quickly rush, go do something. You go
I
pick
rush.
some tanshi. When you come back,
I
collect
just
my
go
own
cover
tanshi
some
from you.
loopholes. I go cover some loopholes.
Okay. I go hear the food just when you come back, Sha. But let's start. You also are aware of the passing of the Queen of England and how Nigerians have been reacting to it. First, let me ask you, the passing, what is supposed to be the historical significance to Africa, particularly Nigeria?
No, I mean, the passing doesn't really have any historical significance for us African people because the Queen is a representation of something. It is that thing, Gongon, that we want to end. It's not the individuals that come and go and fill the space. It's just like our situation in Nigeria. It is not Buhari that I want to go. It is the system that Buhari
Represents.
uplifts, and perpetuates that I want to go. Because millions of Africans can feel his rule and continue as they have been doing for over 500 years. This specific group of African people that believe that European things are worth more than African people. You understand? So for 500 years, these people and their European partners have been selling Africans before now gunpowder, now mirror, now it's Rolls Royce and champagne. But it is still things over people, So it is that system, that mindset, that ideology that has come to diminish and remove dignity from African people that we are trying to remove. The Queen is just a representation. Now our son has taken the position and he will continue to perpetuate because the system still exists and we are still under the domination of that system. You understand? So the Queen's passing is a moment for us to reflect. Maybe it is crass to say, oh, Africans should come out and jubilate. But the Irish are jubilating. And the Irish did not go through half of what Africans went through. You understand?
Very well.
The Irish being the most marginalized of people in that region due to their own difference and what they went through under the crown. The whole stadiums were singing Lizzie is in a box. Stadiums of people. See, because the Irish have liberated themselves in their mind.
From the mental slavery.
They know who their enemies are. They respect their history. So
now, but
I'm
you
not
see,
saying
in
Africans
Africa,
should do that. I'm not saying Africans should go to start singing on the streets. Our culture does not allow that. But what our culture also does not allow is that for you to start mourning the people that have killed your people, that have destroyed your people, that have removed dignity from you. I'm not saying jubilate, but I'm also saying it is disrespectful to yourself to say you are mourning.
And your essence. Well, so people feel whatever the crown represents or represented, or Queen Elizabeth represented, or crown still represents as we speak, we're already in the past. when you talk about whatever they did to us in Africa, and that whatever we are currently going through or passing through are now responsibilities of our own people, our own leaders, because we already had
But
independence.
this is which leaders? So I mean, what is a leader? Uh-huh. For example, Buhari's rise to leadership position in Nigeria, was it by the power of Nigerian people or by the power of the gun? Buhari became a leader in Nigeria through coup. That was how he became a powerful person. He forced himself on Nigerians. Those whole military crew from Obasanjo, IBB, everybody that dominates our politics today, majority of them impose themselves on us. Africans chose their leaders once in history, pre-colonial, just pre-independence, sorry, just before our pre-independence. We as Africans chose certain people to lead us. We believed in their vision. And certain people connived to destroy and kill many of those people. So how can you say that what England has done to us is in the past, when they were actively involved in the death of Lumumba, in the coup that removed Nkrumah, in the death of Sankara, in the coups that removed Shokoture, in the death of Frank Mumier in Cameroon? I mean, the list of our leaders that have been exterminated is endless. Should we talk about Fumilayo and how they threw her out of the window? Do you think it was because of Fela that they threw Fumilayo out of the window? Fumilayo was Africa's leading socialist in 1977. Because by that time, they had killed all her peers. She was the last surviving one. Fela was an excuse for them to enter inside that house. Why would you throw a 77-year-old woman out of the window if she's not the target? But Africans do not really understand themselves from global political perspective. You know, so it's all this beer parlor analysis of our mainstream journalists who have not even read up to 10 historical books, you know, and they sit down there, call themselves journalists, you know, and analyzing experts, coming to regurgitate things that they've seen on CNN and BBC and Fox News and think that that is being intelligent. You understand? So whatever has happened in Africa, it is still ongoing. How can we say that what they've done is in the past when over 70% of African economies are still controlled by European interests? All the licenses that they use to operate, any government that has come into power to take those things back for African people have been sabotaged and exterminated, removed by coup. All sorts of things have been done against such leaders in Africa. So I feel like
so their grip is still here.
Very much so. And there's also these things staring us in the face, and we act like it's Shell, a Nigerian company. Name any of the companies running any of the shows in Nigeria. How many of them are local companies? Have we ever asked ourselves why our so-called billionaires have not decided to be in competition with these companies, even if it is in their own country? Well, and many of the people that continue to scream that this thing is in the past, many of them are the ones refusing to be active in changing things in the present. They will say, forget Europeans, face your leaders. Okay, you unko, you don't want to face your leaders.
Even when you face the leaders, they still abuse you again.
No, there's this romanticization of criminality in the African psyche globally, you know, and it is promoted by mainstream media, by these their heroes that they create, you know, because I'm telling you, many of the heroes we worship, we don't know where they come from. Now the media will just present them to us, begin hail them, begin give them awards. everybody will be running after them and be saying that they are something to look up to. You understand? And all of them continue to romanticize this idea of criminality. So when you talk about the Queen robbing Africans, nobody cares in Africa that anybody is a criminal, because it is romanticized. Everybody is looking up to people that are modeling themselves around Italian criminals. Everybody's done this one, done that one, the mafia, as if it is something, as if criminality is something to look up to. So I'm not surprised that when people lay claim of criminality against certain individual, we do not want anything to happen to those people because we see criminality as some kind of cool thing, heroic thing to participate in. So yes, the Queen and her family has robbed Africa. So what? So what? Maybe other people are robbing Africa now. As if that
and
is
other people
a
that were
reason.
also robbed have moved on since.
But
Why has
who?
Nigeria
So
found it
that's
difficult to
another
move?
point I'm always saying. Who has moved on? So for example, the Jews, people always use the example of the Jews. Oh, look at Israel today. The Israelites got reparations. The Irish got reparations. The Japanese got reparations. And none of them were colonized. The worst they got was indirect rule. Did they go through slavery? And we have never been apologized to. We've never received reparations for the atrocities that have happened to us. There has never been justice that has never been addressed. But because of these leading blacks, they are not black leaders, these leading blacks, because they are not creative, they are not intelligent, really. They don't have the fortitude and the wherewithal to create. So you can look at Dangote, for example, who they say is the richest person in. What is his main business? Selling us cement. Now, is his cement, right, playing in the global stage? Is it part of the top 50 cement in the world? No, these people are not competing with the world. None of them are competing with the world. So they want us also to have that mindset of internal competition only. So as an African man, you just want to be better than all your African brothers. You don't want to really be the best in the world in anything. You want to be the first African to do this, the first black man to do this, the first black man to do things in their own institutions. We never want to be the first black man to build. What are they building? These people that are cornering all the resources of African people into their pockets, because the limestone where they make cement, not be Dangote Papa bring and come from heaven. It belongs to all of us. You corner it for yourself. But what are you creating with it? All this wealth they're accumulating. So therefore, they must give us that mindset of internal competition, because that is the goal. That as long as Africans only see themselves as competition, we can never have solidarity, we can never have respect, and we can never have dignity. When you are busy competing with your brother, you're supposed to unite with your brother to compete with the world. That is the global game. That is the global game. So when you see all these African elites falling all over themselves to wish the Queen family that has murdered millions of Africans, because they too are participating in the murder of African people. And they need the contract of those people. You understand? To continue to live the life that they are living. They need access to European lands. They need access to European luxury. Because they cannot create luxury on their own. So this thing is a really deep problem for us African people. when we continue to look up to these people and let them to decide what we think is right or wrong with the false education that they have given us, it is really dangerous. It is really becoming very dangerous. When young African people are saying that forget history, it is dangerous. Because that means we are doomed to continue to repeat the things that are removing dignity from African people. Because if you do not know where you have made your mistakes, you understand, how do you know how to correct them? It is truly a sad time. You are going to ask me a question just now.
Yes, while you are still talking about reparations to Africa, do you know that you are aware that many Africans are still scrambling to even leave the country and go and even live with these people altogether? They want to japa
Yes, I
to
don't
Europe,
listen.
japa everywhere.
Yes, because our resources. Listen, there's a spiritual connection between a people and their land. The land is feminine. All those things, our land is pregnant with riches. We are from that land. We are connected. When people come and rape that land and pack everything to their country, we must follow our resources. When Europeans stop coming to take African resources, trust me, Africans will stop going to Europe. We'll stop scrambling to go there. We are only following our resources. Finish. You are depriving us of the resources. They are coming using these, their puppets that they have put in power to chance us from our wealth. We have no choice. If you look at the lion in the Serengeti, sometimes it is dry in the Masai Mara. There is no grass. So all the wildebeest will move to the Serengeti. Do you think the lion will say, oh, because we are not from South Africa, we'll be waiting in Kenya for the wildebeest to come back? No, they follow it. They follow the resources. The problem I'm having, as I continue to say, is that we have all these people that have cornered our resources. You understand? And they don't allow us to benefit from it. And this is a global game. It is not Nigerians only. And we can multitask. We can hold the imperialists to account and hold the local oppressors to account too. Because we are holding one to account does not mean we cannot hold the other to account. So when people say, I bet leave the queen and go and follow your own people, it is stupid. We can do both. We can do both.
So are you impressed with most of the people? Because sometimes when you hear people who are into cybercrime and rest, they say they are trying to recover what has been stolen from them through their ancestors and co. Are you in any way saying, well, it is right, or maybe they caused it, and people, are you impressed by what cybercrime, alleged cyber criminals are doing from Nigeria or from Africa, stealing from...
If the cyber criminals were taking that money and using it to strengthen public institutions, using it to build public hospitals, public schools, public libraries, drainage system, and I'll believe the story that they are saying. They are nothing but criminals too. They are in the sea. Because you have to understand that as African people, we have been made to believe that we are of no value. We are made to believe that we don't have value. You understand? And it is the duty of the leading blacks all over the world to make you feel as an African that the only way to have value is by the amount of European things you can consume. So that's why you can never hear them say anything tangible about themselves apart from how much their watch is costing. Because that is the value of them as a human being. How much their car is. Because that is the value. How much their clothes. All these white man clothes they must buy. And they make you feel that if you don't have those things as a black person, you are nothing. So you must understand that separately from what it means to truly be fighting for liberation and changing things for your people. If you say that you are doing anything on behalf of the people, it must be reflecting in the lives of the people.
So the only
This is not a
condemnation you have
Robin
of
Hood situation.
cybercrime,
Hmm?
yeah. So the only
This is not a
condemnation you
Robin
have,
Hood situation.
okay. So the only condemnation
What
you
were you
have
saying?
of I said the only condemnation you have of the alleged cyber criminals is that they are not actually even bringing the resources back to build their own country if they were sincere about recovering resources stolen from their ancestors. They're only using it
I
to
mean, these
for self-aggrandizement.
gangsters are nothing, criminals and gangsters are nothing but mini oppressors. They and the oppressors have the same goal. That's why many of the Yahoo boys, you see themselves, when they make the money, what do? They go and get Mopo like Obasanjo to be guarding them, to be using siren to bully Nigerians out of the road. You know, one of the things you should just use that you see use to see all these criminals is in their similarities to our oppressor. If they make money, they go and live in the same area with the oppressor. This is their goal. They are oppressors out of power. You understand? So this has nothing to do about reparations of African people. It's just like
G-
Nigerian politicians. So when they say they're going to
hmm,
collect aid to come and develop our country,
hmm.
we know that they don't use it to develop our country. You understand? So it is the same story. A revolutionary cannot be a gangster. A revolutionary cannot be a criminal. Criminality and revolutionary behavior and act. See, Africans already, cybercrime is illegal. We as Africans have put it in our law that it's illegal. Case closed. That means we have shown that we frown against it. Individual opinions doesn't matter anymore. We as Africans have it in law that cybercrime is a crime. What we now need to understand is why the prosecution of it is not effective.
I don't know how
You
this
know,
affects this person, but somebody wants your camera to be stable. I don't know, maybe the person is in love with you, wants to see your camera stable. but I need
I don't get
but
now.
that's
My
just
how
not
I take
the
the
case.
plan. That's why I know stable. Maybe the person they take
Uh,
screenshot.
let
So
me see
one
your
song
face.
gone.
Where I
One
know.
song this.
They know. I they say how did they run after you
So,
for sure. Whenever I come around. But you see, there's a statement by what you just said actually made me find some kind of nexus between placing value on material things over human lives that was already there with most Africans. Now, people doing rituals just to buy, expensive material things and toys.
my brothers,
Uh,
please let's not go into the realm of fantasy. There's no such thing as ritual killing. Please, please.
I'm just saying, I've
There's
heard, I've heard it. I've not seen it
all these
myself,
things are story.
but
I've
because we
said it
hear it,
one day Nigerians will uncover this organ harvesting business. I mean, look at Ekere Madu in London that took somebody. You think all these our rich people don't need kidney and liver and lungs and all these things? See, listen, if there was money ritual, white people
hmm,
will line up in our country to be doing it. You think it's only you that will be doing it? Europeans will line up in Africa to be doing it. I mean, come on. We have to leave
okay,
the realm of fantasy. Let's leave the realm of fantasy
the
and
statement
let's
by
discuss
the statement by
covenant.
Professor Uju Anya, a
Yes,
professor who, that has stirred controversy on the internet in the last 2 days. What is your assessment of that
I said
statement?
it's only Africans that are mumu. What she said is nothing. I said the Irish are throwing parties on the streets.
So you support
This woman,
Professor Uju
this woman
on this?
was queen already when Pai Modu was thrown in jail when he was fighting for our independence. She was the crown. She was already there. She even refused to come to Nigeria. And everybody says she gave us. Nobody gave Africans independence. You know, all this our stupid reasoning. She was queen when she was the one that gave us independence. So it's not the over 3 million Nigerians that refused to work for the colonial government anymore and went on the biggest strike that this country has ever seen till date, our country has ever seen till date to cripple the colonial government. It is not the coal workers of Enugu who gave their lives by the hundreds, by the thousands to resist working like slaves. You know, the problem we have in Nigeria is that they teach us colonialism, you know, like some fairy tale story. Like 1960, Nigeria gained independence. 1963, Nigeria became, you know, there's no detail of what our parents went through under this so-called colonialism. You understand? If there was detail, that's why if we knew, we would never respect these so-called African professionals. We will never respect them. That's why they are the ones that teach us. They are our teachers, our elite teachers. They are the ones that create the education. You think they want to expose themselves to you, how they were conniving with the colonial government, how all of them were happy to just be living in the boys' quarters near the white man in VI and Ikoyi and Lagos Island, while all of us lived in the mainland like animals and couldn't walk around freely in our own country, but they could walk around freely because they were the lawyers and the doctors, the sophisticated blacks that the Europeans brought close as pets, that betrayed their own people. They will never tell you the indignities your people suffered. How they were whipped like dogs on the streets by these English people and their African servants. Have you ever asked yourself what, you know, Nigeria never created the Nigerian army. We inherited it. The army was there, led by white men. When we became independent, they changed the badge for their uniform, say the Nigerian army. Have you ever asked yourself what kind of person works as army during the colonial time? What kind of black person, what kind of African person is willing to protect Europeans against his own brothers, whipping and killing them for Europeans? Have you ever asked, and have you ever asked a person what kind of country your country will be if those kind of people ever rise to power in your country? The same people that were killing Africans to protect European interests as army and police, the West African Frontier Force, the Hausa boys, this one, the Yoruba garrison, all these stupid black people now became military, now did coup, started ruling us. Same people that were killing us just 20 years ago for white people interest. Why won't Buhari say your flag should fly at half-mast? Without that uniform that Europeans came to give them, what are they in Africa? Have you asked yourself that? All your leaders, what are they? Without that uniform that Europeans came to, that uniform African, that camouflage has done more harm in Africa than anything we Africans can ever think of doing to ourselves. People that have worn that camouflage, that uniform. Do you know the atrocities that uniform has committed in Africa? So who brought that uniform to Africa? Who empowered that uniform? You are complaining as youth, SARS, NSAS. Who trained SARS to be like that to you? SARS is trained by the UK police. Do you know that? That unit, SARS, they are trained by the Metropolitan Police. So you go and Google it, it's there. They admitted it. They are trained by the UK police. The UK police is under the Queen, man. They are the Queen's police, man. So you are complaining, SARS kill us. Then you are the people that trained them to kill you, you are mourning them. Are you not stupid? You are saying it's in the past, it's history. You don't understand the dance between your imperialist and your local oppressors. You don't understand the dance that is keeping you in awe, just looking like a mumu, regurgitating nonsense from your mouth. You know, continually, without any analysis, any research. One idiot was on my page. I've forgotten his name. I wish I could remember. I don't block all of them. He talked nonsense. I answered him. Now him by himself, this is how twisted these people are. He said, invite me to my mentor, Fela Anikulapo Kuti shrine. Now him talk, invite me to come and give you evidence of how it is black people that are destroying Africa and not European. Now I they like that kind of thing. Now he make us say, okay, I'm back in November. In November. Let's meet in Shrine, November 11, or pick any date in November. Let's hold this debate. He said, no, I can't do it in November. Let's pick next year. I say, okay, next year is 365 days. Pick the day you want. You know, as I say, you don't feel answer because making come shine, we pay ticket from Europe, bringing people, who is going to pay for that? This same motherfucker, now he's saying he won't come. Nobody invite to. Now it's time to come. He tell us, say, he will cost money. He will. This is how these people are. They are like they have schizophrenia. You know? So I'm amazed, and I realize that the indoctrination that we call education in Africa is dangerous. It has now become dangerous. The level of ignorance and stupidity in Africa, we can no longer ignore it or turn a blind eye because it is now becoming dangerous. How easy it is due to poverty to turn Africans against one another due to poverty. You understand? Look at the banditry, the Boko Haram, anything. Africans just embracing anything that can put food on their table.
You know, you made something, certain comments that buttress what Professor Uju Anya said. Like, you can't know all of these things and not be angry and all that. And you said the Irish people were even throwing parties. So what makes Professor Uju Anya's comments critical to Nigerian people or serious to Nigerian people is not what.
No, it is the racism of it. Jeff Bezos, it is the racism of no, you have to understand that Jeff Bezos is a racist. It is the racism of Jeff Bezos. Because if you go on Irish Twitter, my brother, professors, doctors, lawyers, all sorts of people are posting even meaner things about the Queen. Irish people in America, not Irish people in Ireland, though. Irish professors, but because they are white, Jeff Bezos has not gone to talk nonsense to them.
So you isolated that of a Nigerian professor.
Exactly. But Nigerians, you know, because Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they are rich. Once you are rich to African people, no matter what else, no matter how dangerous you are to them, once you are rich, that is it. Once you have money, they lose their minds. They begin to watch, because they believe that you have solved some kind of riddle. When African people don't know that money is the most easy thing to get in this world, because it is worthless.
You see, there's this thing I always hear from Africa. You know, there was a time when former governor of Oyo State, Ajimobi, passed. Some people said, oh, he was responsible for shutting down of Lautech, and he was even arrogant about it, that to hell with him. And some people replied that, no, you don't talk ill of the dead, is on African. And then I want to relate it to what, you know, the Queen was yet to die. She was still in sick bed when Professor
we
Uju
don't talk ill.
Let me land.
Africans.
Let me just land.
We talk ill
let
of
me
traitors.
just land.
These are traitors. Okay, go
Let
on.
me just land, Shil. You know, so when she said she even wishes the Queen excruciating pain even till death, that was even before the Queen even passed. You know, and after she passed, a lot of people are still unapologetic about saying die again. You know, and then some Africans brought this thing up again, like it's on African to speak ill of the dead. The dead is already dead. Let them go and face their judgment and all that. I just want to comment on don't speak ill of the dead in relation to wishing them even dying again.
Is a Yoruba adage that is reserved for the deepest of traitors. For anybody to say that Africans say don't speak of the dead, they don't understand the dead that we mean. The dead that we mean are the prodigious ones, the good people. I want to die. That you go and you come back. Okay, Omoluabinye. We won't speak, you don't speak ill of the dead, Omoluab, not of the traitors. The traitors must be. This is what we have lost as African people. Our ability to have some self-respect in the face of treachery. So we see all these traitors that are destroying our country. Yeah, they are traitors. When you work with other people to marginalize your own people, that is treachery. Now, I'll give you this. I always give people this story, Norman Finkelstein and Noam Chomsky. These are some of the most brilliant men in the world today. They are Jews, but they do not support the Jewish occupation of Palestine. And they are vocal about it. For that reason alone, the establishment in Israel sees them as traitors and treats them as such. Noam Chomsky is one of my own personal heroes. And what he's standing for is the right thing. But it is the right thing that go against his own people's thing. They turn back on him. We are telling our own people the right thing.
Well, this is actually,
if we are saying that we cannot speak ill of the dead, we are not talking about those people that beheaded our ancestors and called them savages and treated them like monkeys and put them in cages and put them in chains and threw them into the ocean while they were bound, that commodified their existence, that turned them to nothing but cargo, that removed their humanity, that stripped us of our spirituality, our identity, our culture, of our resources, of our well-being. I keep telling people, until we encounter this system, there were no homeless people in Africa. When people are saying to me, what African, there was slavery in Africa before Yibo came. Yibo people just continue the slavery of Africa. Like, people are so ahistorical. They don't understand history. There's always been conflict in humanity. Men must fight. And except you are a stupid black man that believes the Yibo that story that African people are not really men, then that's why you think that African people will not fight themselves. So we fight ourselves in Africa just like anybody fight themselves in the world. Men fight. Violence. Are you there, Shegun? Your video don't disappear.
I'm with you. I can hear you. It's just, but I can hear
okay.
You. Please go on. I'm trying to change the camera.
Violence is one of the attributes of humanity. You understand? Every animal in this world, right, has aggression. All animals have aggression. But only human beings are violent. And chimpanzees. Only human beings and chimpanzees are violent. Because violence is targeted aggression. We are the only ones with the mind, with the brain, to target our aggression. Aggression for other animals is a reaction to something, so usually the aggression kicks in. Only human beings go in house, go plan. So men must fight, and when you fight, you lose, you become slave to the other people. This slavery doesn't mean that your children too will become slaves. It is more like a second-class citizen, because you are an outsider that is being assimilated. But as soon as you give birth to your children are full citizens. And Africans were not whipping people in the farm to work by force, say they are slaves. They were not crucifying people. We were not beheading our brothers and sisters because they are slaves, cutting off their prick and cutting off their leg, padlocking their mouth together. African people were not doing those kind of things. When padlocking people mouth together, chaining their ear, chaining their... So I don't get the whole point when they say Africans were doing it to themselves. So this is a historical...
Many people are actually concerned about the impact this is going to have on Africa from their colonial masters in Europe. What Professor Uju said, for instance, including what you're saying, and a lot of people are beginning to say, me, I no follow deals so that they no go deny me visa and all of that. A lot of people believe there's going to be a backlash on Africa, on Nigerians, and on a lot of people who take the same position as Professor Uju. What do you think about this? Do you think there's going to be backlash, and what do you think Africans or Nigerians should begin to do from here?
Backlash about what?
Just Bezos highlighted, Professor Uju's act, among several others. And a lot of people feel, oh, you are going to bring misfortune upon us. They are going to penalize
Wait,
us.
let me put it to
Europe
you.
is going to.
Let me ask this question to the Jeff Bezos, the Africans, and the Jeff Bezos. If Jewish people say that they wish Hitler excruciating pain while he dies, will anybody go and give them backlash?
Oh,
Hitler only
not
killed 6
not
million
expect.
Jews.
Hmm.
Do you know how many Africans were murdered by this crown?
Hmm. I'm not sure it's accounted for. There were just a few estimations here and there. It's not totally
Exactly.
accounted for.
Exactly. So for me, personally, really, really deeply personally, I feel everybody just needs to shut the fuck up and leave Africans to discover their own path. We are tired of the paternalistic behavior of the
Attitude, yeah.
Western community, trying to tell us that we
You
don't
see,
know what to do for ourselves. Why, since we made them for 400 years, we as a people that never were homeless, now we are homeless. We're people that were never hungry, now we are hungry.
well, you see, talking about
What?
reparation, like you mentioned earlier, it's becoming a little, controversial whether it will be necessary or not from the way a lot of Africans,
No, me, I don't care
even the
about
ones.
their reparations. I use this as an economic argument when people say, oh, all these other people have lifted themselves after going through whatever. But first of all, nobody went through what Africans went through. The Indians were never taken as slaves. Neither were the Asians. They were never slaves. You understand? They were never colonized. Right? The Hindu spiritual system was never demonized. The Indians were never stripped. Their religions were never made illegal. Their gods were never called demons. If you want to know the role that the Indians played in the slave trade, go and read up on Gandhi and see how Gandhi sees black people. The Asians were the managers of the slave trade. The Arabs were 3,000 years in the slave trade before the Europeans even joined. We have no friends. What Africa has been through is unique to Africa only and African people. We cannot use anybody else to judge ourselves. Nobody went through the complete and total warfare that was declared on African people in Berlin in 1884 and 1885 in the so-called Berlin Conference. This was a war, they call it Berlin Conference. It was a Berlin War Conference where the great powers of Europe, who have been fighting themselves for over 500 years, Spain, England, Spain, England, Germany, France, Italy, they had never been at peace. They were at war for over 500 years. At this conference, they decided for the first time to be at peace so that they can unify themselves to attack Africa at once. And they moved the French and the English from the north, the Spanish from the east, the Germans from the west, southwest and southeast, the Dutch from the south, the English too, and they attacked us at once. But we're not taught about our history from that perspective.
Okay, 2023 is around the corner, and a lot of people believe that we can start getting it right if we have the right leadership in place. There are some candidates already coming out. Some already went to they already sympathized with the UK. They already sympathized with the crown, the Buckingham Palace, and some are saying they are calling the bluff. Nigerians are asking if we want to start repositioning Africa and getting history straight and right again. What kind of leadership do we want? Majority Nigerian youth say, well, it is the turn of the South, since the North has been taking have already had their rotational chance or period. The South is also saying Southeast or South. southwest. There's a Milocon. There is, and now popularly on social media there is the obedience movement. People want to be obedient and have their country back. Seun Kuti, uh, 2023. What is your advice to youth?
To the youth, that only them can save themselves. That no, me, I'm kind of disappointed in the Nigerian youth. It is very
Why?
interesting because just 3 years ago they were doing not too young to rule. Then 2 years ago they were insisting. 2 years ago that it is a youth president that they want, somebody between 30 and 50. Then now, due to their own inability to organize and create the platforms for themselves to create the leadership that they want, they now mortgage it to the oppressor. That the oppressor should give them youth candidates in their party. Those ones have that we are not giving you any youth candidates. So now they didn't get youth candidate. There's no youth in the oppressor's party's ballot. You understand? Now Nigerian youth are lining up behind old people. Can you believe that? This same youth that say they want young person. Now they are all lining up, say that they are articulate, ratified, obedient. So I think young people in Nigeria still do not understand their own power. But this is just because of the betrayal of the professionals in Nigeria, the media, the education, the religious leaders, all these professionals and adults that should actually show the youth the way have confused them so much that young people do not know their own power and do not have the ability to create the platforms that they need to get that change that they know that they want. But I think it is also a necessary step for them to learn, as they experience politics. We also have to understand that we are barely new to this democracy game. So let's cut young people some slack too. I think very soon they will understand class interests. Because many young people in Nigeria are not class conscious. You don't understand that many people, your class determines your interest. The class you show allegiance to determine your interest and the kind of policy and plans you will make. So the more they get into politics deeply and begin to understand those things, I think they will become more developed in their political participation.
But you see, for instance, after the NSAS protest, many young people said it is over for the old people, and then they began to also organize and do something. So they came up to then say, okay, so from this quarter, to an extent, has been Peter Obi for a number of reasons. Some said, well, the Southeast has never had their own chance, at least since 1960, to be able to get into to rule at the federal level, and that we should look that way. Others believe, well, Peter Obi is better, and it's not even from PDP or APC anymore. It's now in Labour Party of the workers and oppressed, and
If
it's
Peter
also
Obi
promising
wins
to
the
move
election,
Nigeria from
if Peter
consumption.
Obi wins the election, all the PDP politicians to go to Labour Party. Just the way all the APC politicians will go to Labour Party. Just the way all the PDP politicians went to APC when they form APC to win. When they win the LP, all of them to pack themselves to LP. No, I don't see why they cannot just. Peter Obi has been in how many parties in the last 5 years? Was it? It was in APGA before, Abi.
But it's a changed person. It's now in Labour
It was in
Party,
APGA
Party of the
before,
Workers.
Abi. Was he in
Yes,
APGA
that was
before?
when
No.
he was in APGA as governor of Anambra
Then he
State.
was in PDP.
Yes, but now he's a changed person.
Yeah, exactly. All those politicians will change too now. Is it not change we all seek? Is it not change we seek? Is it not change we seek? Shegun, you are saying Shegun.
But
Is
at
it
least it
not
will be
change that
different.
we seek? The change
It
is
will be
different now.
different.
By definition, change is different.
You're just turning me.
But it's true now.
You know,
Somebody just made a
okay.
comment here that India was colonized for
Well,
200 years. My point wasn't that India wasn't colonized or not. I'm saying that nobody went through the complete package, slavery and colonization. The Indians were never taken to Barbados and America to go and till the soil and stolen from their land. Why do you think India has 1 point something billion people today? You know, there are people weren't stolen. They didn't go through slavery. We did. You know, and even till now, India still has its own issues. The poverty levels high, crazy. And nobody can be free from the effect of colonialism, you know, just like that, you know, especially with the interference that still continues to go on in our politics. That's what I'm saying. Many people think that this is the past, that is no longer happening. But the truth is that our politics, our economics are still being manipulated and controlled by these people, you know. Anyway, next question. So I just wanted to
well,
address
we'll
the
have
guy.
to wrap up for. Yes, I understand. So we'll have to wrap up for today. Somebody doing this every Sunday. I don't know how available you'll be for that, but it is just somebody wants it,
And
or
also let
somebody
me ask,
really likes it and wants it. So I don't know how we're going to be able to
the
do
person,
that.
the person should sponsor the program now.
Yes, go ahead.
The
Oh
person
yeah,
should sponsor the program
no,
every
actually,
Sunday.
if you want people to, actually, if you want people to, you know, to drop in something to support, they will do, certainly, as far as they enjoy learning from this. We can start it. It doesn't matter wherever you are. It's a virtual session, so encourage it. I'll stick to that. But I was also interested in your hair, but I didn't want to answer on your behalf. Somebody commented before and said they you look more handsome to them. But I still have hair.
Which hair is this?
Is that issue?
Which hair? They mean my afro.
Somebody's. I don't know where that person is. Yes. I don't know maybe with different
I
styles,
had to
especially
cut
the
it. It
style
was
I
causing
know you
problem
with
in
is the
town.
one
It was causing problem.
that leaves hair at the back.
That afro was causing
What kind
problem in
of
town.
problem was that?
So I had to cut it again.
What type of problem?
People were just, they hate too
You
much
don't want to
haters.
say.
The afro was giving people sleepless nights. I was too handsome for them. So I just let me
What
reduce.
type of is it a particular gender or everybody?
Everybody.
Anyway, okay.
Girlfriends were
So I want to
funny.
say thank you so much.
Boyfriends
You
were
know,
crying.
Yoruba demo. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I'll get back to we can continue this every Sunday because like you said, is the missing link. People are not really educated about their history, stories, and
Yeah, you know,
the sequence,
our
and then
elites
drawing
and
lessons from
our
them.
elders in Africa, they do us a great disservice with our education. You know, a very great disservice. Is a shame. The kind of education that they give to African people, it's an education of subservience that will keep your head down. You know, I mean, you can go through from primary 1 to SS3 in Nigeria, and you never hear the word injustice in your classroom. You never hear the word oppression in your classroom. You never hear the word police brutality in your classroom. And these things are your daily experiences in your country. So if children are not even educated by the time they're in SS3 as to the reality of their existence, what kind of education is that? But they'll be telling you about Trafalgar, Mungo Park, square root of 4 divided by 1 of x is equal to what? As if that will stop policeman from tearing you slap on the street.
Hmm.
So we're not
Okay,
even
we can't
educated
exhaust
about our
everything
own
today.
environment. No, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, but it's a shame. It's really it's sad where they've put a lot of African people, these leading blacks, And before I go, I want you to know that to these leading blacks, the queen is not above reproach. The queen is not above reproach. The leading blacks, leading Africans all over the world, they've turned themselves into their own race. They are now their own race. They are their own people. They are not part of us. You understand? So any
Hmm.
atrocity we go through is acceptable as long as it is not happening to them. So, for
Yeah.
example, when Meghan Markle spat on the face of our ancestors, maybe she says she's half black. She's black. And went to marry into this racist family. They were all praising her. Then when the racist family racist her, all these celebrities and all of them, they came out to attack this royal family. Do you remember when Meghan Markle was racially discriminated by the queen and her family? That they went on Oprah
Yeah.
Winfrey?
Yes. Yes.
All these celebrities came out hurling all sorts of insults at the royal family, calling them all sorts of names. But today, it is
What
unacceptable
has changed?
when we want to do it on behalf of African ancestors, on behalf of African countries, on behalf of African people subjugated and oppressed by this crown. It is not acceptable. But it is acceptable to insult the queen and the crown when only Meghan Markle is hurt. Abi,
That's true.
you see the
That's a
connivance and the evil,
yes.
dastardly behavior of the leading blacks all over the world, how they put themselves above all of us, how they feel that they are different from us. So as long as it is not happening to them, that's why I tell people in Nigeria, they are misleading you up and down the place. How many bankers will get slapped by police? Very few. It is you that you are hustling, that you are poor, that you are trying your best. So you are not experiencing what these professionals and their employers are going through. This is not your experience. So we must now understand our experience and act from our own experience, not looking up and thinking, oh, one day we'll be like them too and we will not chop slap. Okay, okay. That's what your father and your father's father and your uncles and
Also,
their friends too thought before. But
also
look at
hoped
us
for.
still chopping it. That is the same thing. Every generation, how many people can they pull out of poverty? In your youth, they will use you, they will suck your energy. You will be thinking, I'll make it, I'll make it. Now lie. At the end of it, 94% of Africans in every generation fall back into poverty.
Because they've
Even the
already
World
created a
Bank,
ceiling beyond which you
I
can't
say,
even
even
go.
the
Yeah.
World Bank,
No matter how
the
much.
World Bank,
Yeah.
the World Bank said you are more likely to win the lottery than to die above the class you are born in. The World Bank said you are more likely to win the lottery than to die. Yes, you know how hard it is to win the lottery. Yeah. They say you are more likely to win the lottery than to die above the class you are born in. And I just wish and hope that African people begin to really see the reality of this thing that they all look up to, how fleeting it is, how inexistent. Abiola was the so-called richest African when he was alive. Name one Abiola company that is still functioning today. That is the fleetingness of black wealth.
Well, somebody wants you to talk about Showore. I know why that person is interested. I don't know if it is in the context of this topic, and
Yes, it's
2023
true. We did not mention
was already meant.
For me, Showore is the best of the 4 candidates that are available. Personally, for me, I still think it's better than any of the 3. If Nigerians say they want to press the reset button, you understand that they want to press the reset button, they want to take one step in the right direction. It is to sweep out everybody and everything that has had anything to do with the past system and bring in somebody truly fresh. But there's the same Nigerians will tell you Showore cannot win, as if election is football sports. You are not playing to win, or you are playing your conscience. You are voting your belief. This is not win or lose. This is not win or lose. It's a football election. Voting is not a sport. You are not voting because you are afraid to win or you are afraid to lose. You are voting from your conscience.
There's this comment by a lot of people that Showore should not just jump and say he wants to be president, that he should go and start from somewhere. Some even suggested local government councillor, chairman.
You see, because Showore is not a rich man, he's not from a rich family. He must start, go and do local government. How dare you want to be president? Come on, get out. Go and do the local government first. Nigerians, every Nigerian has as long as you are above the age of 18, you have the right to contest for president, to vote and be voted for. Once you are above 35, you have the right to contest for president. And Showore is above 35, I believe. Abi? So why is anybody saying exactly? He's the youngest. You say you want young president, you want youth president. And they give you everything. Yet you are picking other people that don't meet your criteria. But me, I'm MOP chairman, so I can't really come outside and outly say, oh, I'm campaigning for one candidate. It's against our party constitution. So if not, I'll have been more active in the campaign of the candidate that I like. You understand? But at the moment, I can't do that.
Is MOP already registered as a party?
No, hey, my brother, it's not easy to register party, especially when we are doing it with we're trying to do it right and with very limited resources, but big human support. So what has helped MOP so far is the thousands of volunteers in all the states that have been making sure that we meet the criteria of being registered, and it has not been an easy task. Let me use this opportunity again to thank all the comrades in all the state cells and the state chapters in MOP, everybody in the admin, that have been working tirelessly. But we're going to hand in, hopefully by the end of September or October, we're just finishing our Abuja office, which was the biggest, we thought it was going to be the biggest hurdle. But the biggest hurdle in creating party in Nigeria is actually building your 24 state reps, and having them ready to represent you and your party in the presence of INEC. Finding 24 young people in Nigeria that are willing to dedicate themselves like that, not for money, but for liberation. I didn't think it was going to be that hard. With all the noise young people were making, all the noise Nigerian people were thought, come and liberate yourself, that we'll be pushing them out of the door. That the queue will be so long, we'll be having to push or more. Now beg with the beg. So that's why I understand why people are shouting, obedient and articulate and ratified and all those things. It's because we have not been, these elders have played a bad game on young Nigerian people. And this game starts in the university. Where your lecturer that is supposed to make you become a man infantilizes you by taking bribe from you so you don't do tests. Taking bribe from you so you don't do exam. So you don't know how to put in that work for your own development. You always believe in the shortcut. So all this articulate, ratified, obedient is the shortcut young people are taking, just the way they didn't like doing tests. I can guarantee you 80% of the people that are doing ratified, articulate, obedient, all these people, they didn't like doing tests in university. Neither did they like doing exam. one more way, one come more way. Anybody, most of the young people supporting Atiku, supporting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, supporting Peter Obi, all these establishment politicians, they are the same young people that in university they thought it was a smart thing to bribe your lecturer and not do test, and the lecturer too will collect the bribe. You understand?
Sharp way.
So this
Somebody
is the
asked a
damage
question.
that the educational institution has
Somebody
done.
is asking why have you not therefore decided to merge MOP with AAC? Since you agree
because
and
MOP
understand
and
that you were.
MOP and AAC, we have some fundamental ideological differences. And such differences is healthy for the political discussion and growth of any nation.
And they are not resolvable. They are not. It's not. It's difficult to look into this.
It is not. It is not. When you talk resolve, it becomes conflict. There's nothing conflicting about this. You understand? It is to give people a variety of ideas. As a nation, Nigeria must have a variety of ideas to stimulate the political consciousness of Nigerian people. Somebody is asking, what are these differences? Study the two organizations. So this is the work. This is your test. Don't bribe lecturer. If you are really interested, go to AAC website, go to MOP website, pull out our constitution, pull out our manifestos, study them, see how we operate. You know, that's the true interest.
Anyways, I don't. Somebody wants
struggling to. We are struggling, no, we are struggling, and we are not ashamed. That's why it's called the struggle. It was not called the relaxation. It was not called the comfort. It was not called the quick, the fast. It was called the struggle for a reason. So when you are doing something and you can see that you are struggling to do it, you know that you're on the right way.
Okay. Well, I think we should allow people go to other things, and we should also keep it short for people who didn't join, so that when they see the length, they will not look at it as too strenuous to watch. So I want to keep it this short.
Data expensive.
We'll come back next Sunday. We definitely will, but we can't exhaust all topics today now. So we'll definitely still come back next Sunday. So let's just keep this one like this for now. We'll cut the important part, re-upload in bits, and then we'll come back and talk about other, because there will always be developments. By next Sunday, there will be developments again that will also take us into other topics that are also important in our education and history. I want to thank you once again.
But let me talk to Game World. MOP, we are on the ground. We are not just online. MOP, we are talking to people. We are sharing the ideas with them on ground. You know, it's important that you know that. You know, we are definitely sharing ideas with people. We are meeting with the people directly. You know, in everywhere that we operate. That you must understand that one too. Okay. I just don't want to be going into details of MOP and AAC. This is not the time or the place for that. It's not a debate about MOP and AAC. Okay. You know, that's if you really want to know, go and study it yourself.
A question. Okay. So it will be a topic for another day anyways. So thank you so much once again, Seun, and I want to wish you all the best. The loophole you went there to block in America, block it well and bring home the Tanshi. I go block it for Shrine when you come back to come collect.
Okay, Shek.
All right, now thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining. And if you joined late, you can always watch back again. We're already ending it. I wish you all the best Sunday. Bye for now.
Please meet Mr. Abiodun Akinyemi, a man who is looking to solve solve the big chunk of the housing crisis that we have in Nigeria by making affordable, self-sufficient homes. These kind of homes are becoming more and more popular, by the way, because they are efficient and they are environmentally friendly, and then it costs less to make them if you think about it in the long run. Anyway, before I tell you about the smart homes that he's building, let me tell you a little bit about his story. He's based in Canada right now, and he decided to build a house in Lagos, Nigeria, where he's from. But upon making inquiries, the cost of building a house has increased significantly since he moved to Canada. So instead of using concrete brick throughout his construction, he substituted it with laterite, and he was able to save 30% of the construction cost. Laterite has a lot of advantages, by the way, including warming your home during the cold weather, cooling your home in the hot season. It's cheaper because it's readily available. It's everywhere in Nigeria. It has high clay content, which means it can hold more water. Laterite gives you better air quality. So if you build your house with laterite, you can breathe in better air quality. You can even recycle it. So if you build a house with laterite and you don't like it, you can break down the house and use the brick to build another house. And that's just to name a few of the advantages. But he didn't stop at building his personal house. He decided to make his house self-sufficient, off-grid, which means that he's not going to be dependent on the electricity from the Nigerian government. So he's using solar power, and he's also not going to be using power generator, so there will be no noise, no air pollution. At the same time, he's not using the regular sockaway that everybody uses in Nigeria. He's disposing his own waste material, but decomposing it and generating his own water. So once the house is completed, he doesn't need any from the, and this is why they call this home self-sufficient, off-grid homes. That alone inspires me, the fact that he was able to find an alternative to just spending so much money on building a house, and the fact that he doesn't have to depend on the government. He made himself a self-sufficient house. That is the inspiration for me. But then he took it a step further. So after learning from his own experience, he wants to do the same for others, except that he wants to do it better. If you see the picture of the house, you may not be too impressed by the aesthetic, but he calls this the experimental house, because what he has decided to do is to now mass produce this kind of house for other people. In case anybody out there is interested in having a house that will be self-sufficient, he has bought acres of land in Lakwe beachfront in order to construct an off-grid estate. And what you guys are seeing is what he would be constructing. All these houses would not be using NEPA, and they will be constructed with laterite bricks. If anyone is interested, he's looking for 10 people, just 10 people to start out. The price starts at 34 million naira for 3 bedrooms, and you can pay in installments. He has a contract readily available, readily prepared, which you can share with your lawyer to know if that's a good deal or not. I mean, some people may feel like that's a lot of money, but it's a one-time payment that you no longer have to worry about electricity bill. You no longer have to worry about paying them to empty your sock away and stuff like that. It's a one-time payment that you know that from beginning to end, you know your house is complete and self-sufficient. Anyway, I asked him, by the way, I said, what if someone is interested right now and they decided to pay you, and along the way they decided they're no longer interested, they don't like what they are seeing? And he said to me that your money is refundable, as stated in the contract. He said he will give you back 95% of the money, and the remaining 5% is for administrative charges. He's using a system of interlocking bricks instead of the traditional style of construction. And this system results in a house that is 10 times stronger than traditionally built house, and also more terminally efficient. Each home would have its own fire system and will be conveniently located by a fire hydrant in order to make it easier for fire crews to help just in case of an emergency. We'll be building common areas that will have a gym, a playground, swimming pool, ball courts, grocery stores, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, the houses in his estate will reduce global warming and human carbon footprint. So guys, if you're interested, please check him out. This is his website.